You're listening to Popcorn in Orbit, a podcast for sci-fi lovers of all galaxies, hosted by filmmakers Jeremy Major and Ian P. Causer.
All right, welcome back, everyone. You've got Jeremy here in the great country of Canada and Ian in fabulous Great Britain. How you doing, Ian?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Good. Now, today is a bit of a follow-up. This is almost like a part two from last time. And we were talking about protagonists last time from great science fiction movies. Well, actually, great protagonists in any type of science fiction movie, good or bad. And today we're going to look at antagonism.
Yeah.
So, remind everyone what the rules of this game are, Ian.
So the rules are that you can only have one antagonist per franchise and one antagonist per actor.
Yeah.
And what I've come to realize, having put together this list, which was great fun, is just how much more fun the actors playing antagonists must have compared to the actors playing protagonists.
Yeah, it's so true. Yeah, and that's one of the things that kind of occurred to me too, is actually like some of the antagonists are even like they're likable in a weird kind of way, but sometimes they're so over the top that I don't know. I found there were a few where it's like I couldn't necessarily identify with them or their themes or anything like that.
Oh no, yeah.
But you just love watching the over the top performance.
They're just fun.
Yeah.
You know, we have a great love for the wonderful, great Alan Rickman in this country. We're very proud of him as one of our own. And he's not on this list because Die Hard isn't a sci-fi.
Right.
And Harry Potter's obviously, he pretends to be the antagonist for a number of those fantasy films, not sci-fi.
Right.
And then, of course, it turns out he's the biggest hero of the lot, playing Severus Snape. But there's something about him, even as the Sheriff of Nottingham in Robin Hood. He's far more fun than it appears Costner's having as Robin Hood himself.
Oh, yeah, that's so true.
Costner got battered for it over here because of the American accent, and I feel for him because
even we noticed.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's a strange one because by all accounts he did want to try and do a British accent, and it was the studio that said no, do it in an American accent. So you feel for him, really. But thank God Alan Rickman was there as the Sheriff of Nottingham, just sort of hamming it up, but not in a not in a punitive sense of the word ham, having fun with him. We have fun with him.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. And you're right, you do even see that in Die Hard, which, could qualify as sci-fi. They definitely break the rules of science a couple times.
They did, yes. Yeah, if you plummet down the Nakatomi Plaza with a fire hose tied around your waist, you're probably not going to make it. Barefoot.
See, that movie can fit into any genre: Christmas, sci-fi, action.
Where do you stand actually on Die Hard as a Christmas movie? Because I
love to think of it as such.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
There's some people that won't count it, but to me, Die Hard is a Christmas movie. Yeah.
Back when we owned a theater, I've talked about this before. We showed Die Hard at Christmas.
Did you? Yeah.
Yeah, and it was popular.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. I'm not surprised. So my two favorite Christmas movies are Die Hard and Planes, Trains and Automobiles, but people always say that's a Thanksgiving movie. How can that be? But it feels
interesting.
It's a holiday movie.
Yeah.
So that's the other Christmas movie to me that isn't a Christmas movie to some people.
Yeah. But
so antagonists have more fun.
So much fun. Yeah. Well, let's just get to it then, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
Do you want to go first this time? I always go first. Would you like to go first?
Yeah, I could do that. Sure. Yeah. Sure. All right. Okay. So this, I feel like my number 10 is maybe a bit obscure.
Okay.
But I'll try and give it some rationale.
Is it a silent movie from 1908 again? Or
No, I mean, it's a reasonably well-known movie. It's just, I don't know. I feel like I'm the only one who ever mentions this movie. I don't know anyone else really who talks about it. It doesn't come up on many. So in Ad Astra, the Brad Pitt movie, I found I'm going to classify the dad, which is played by Tommy Lee Jones, as the antagonist here.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think you're right. Yeah.
And I think a few of mine are maybe a bit of a hazy sort of definition of antagonism. Yeah. So, I mean, he's an interesting guy. Like he has abandoned his family, didn't see his kid grow up, all of this stuff because he is so hell-bent on finding intelligent life out at, what is it, Neptune or something?
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that, way out in the middle of nowhere. And he's even like murdered people over it because he's so tied into this belief that there's something out there. He's just committed his entire life to it.
He's almost like a power trip in some way, that he believes he's the only one that can do it. So he's on this mission that's more important than anybody or anything.
Yeah, exactly. And then you end up finally meeting him at the end, and he's a bit of a shell of a man, really.
Yeah.
The character is kind of a disappointment. Tommy Lee Jones is fabulous.
Yeah.
So I just find that whole scenario kind of interesting.
Yeah, you're right. It wasn't what I expected at all.
No.
From the end of that film.
Yeah.
It's almost low key and
it is almost low key.
But I think that's very clever.
Yeah.
Very, very cleverly done.
And, there's just something about that, the way that story's told for me, it really kind of resonates, that sort of like loneliness, the emptiness. And it's like the further away you get from Earth, you feel it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Very
And a lunar buggy chase on the moon.
Okay.
Which was weird.
I know you have a problem with that. I really enjoyed that sequence.
Yeah.
Okay. It was fun. All right. Take me through your number 10.
My number 10. I sometimes think the best antagonists are casting decisions you'd never think to use on an antagonist. Okay. And this is one of them.
I like it already.
The wonderful Patricia Clarkson has, throughout her career, played a number of very sweet, very maternal, very lovely characters.
Yes.
And then she appears in The Maze Runner as Ava Page.
Okay.
As this sort of Dr. Death scientist that's been torturing these boys in the maze and continues to believe that torturing them is a moral imperative to save humanity from this disease. And she doesn't play it crazy. She doesn't play it as some screaming psychopath. She plays it in exactly the same cool and calm, collected way that I think of from like Hannibal Lecter in Silence of the Lambs.
Interesting.
And I think she crushes it. There's something about Patricia Clarkson. She's just so lovely.
Yeah.
Or another good example would be Mary Steenburgen, who is really lovely in Parenthood, and she's so sweet and she's just wonderful. And yet she played the villainous lawyer in Philadelphia. And you're like, how have they got that casting? But the casting works because you're like, this is even more uncomfortable. Yeah. Because you don't have an Alan Rickman in the role. You have the complete opposite. You have somebody who you wouldn't position as being morally questionable.
Yeah.
Let alone an outright villain.
Very compelling choice.
Yeah. I had Thomas Brody Sangster last week from Maze Runner. I love the Maze Runner trilogy. I think they're great.
Yeah, they are great.
And I wanted to get Patricia Clarkson in there at number 10. Who's your number 9, Jay?
My number 9 is, this may seem off the wall because I'm not normally a comic book guy. Okay. But General Zod in Man of Steel. Yeah.
Wow.
I think Michael Shannon's great. And partly I love that movie just because it's so over the top big.
Yeah.
It's got a great score, so many things. But yeah, I think Michael Shannon just kind of, he can be over the top, but still grounded in a sense.
Yeah, he's intense.
Yeah, he still feels real. And, he's kind of this like bred warrior, I guess. He's got like one mission, at this point to destroy humanity to piss off Superman, basically, I think, or Cal. I don't know. Somehow the way he plays it just, I thought it really worked.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, good choice.
Okay, your number 9.
My number 9 is from Matrix movies. Hugo Weaving as Agent Smith is just...
Okay, awesome.
Something about his performance is so scary to me when I first saw The Matrix.
Yeah.
And I actually went to college with a guy whose surname was Anderson, and I would always do it in the Hugo Weaving voice, Mr. Anderson. Whenever he walks into a room, there's something about those glasses, the man of black suit. But Hugo really did crush that performance because at no point do you feel comfortable that Neo can beat this guy.
Right, yes.
inside the Matrix. He's genuinely terrifying. And he plays it again. There's a little bit of a theme here, actually, with all my villains, that none of them are raving, shouting, screaming lunatics. They actually pare down in their performance.
Like General Zod?
A little bit, yeah. And there's sometimes that's scarier when they pare it down like that. And I just thought Hugo Weaving was brilliant.
Awesome. Yeah.
And he's a brilliantly written antagonist.
Terrific.
Who you got on number 8?
My number 8, I have gone with Mr. Milchick from Severance, played by Tramell Tillman, who I don't think you haven't seen the second season yet, so I don't want to do any spoiler alerts here because there's probably a lot of people binging it right now. But
what's the statute of limitations on spoilers?
I don't think there is one once it's out.
It's like Shakespeare, so you can't spoil Romeo and Juliet for somebody.
No.
Really? There's no statute of limitations on spoilers?
I don't think so.
Interesting.
But I will do my best not to spoil it so that people don't turn us off right now.
Yeah, true. Good point, yeah.
All I'll say is this. Mr. Milchick is he's a very important part, especially in season 2. I mean, he's always kind of been there, but he kind of takes over certain duties from Miss Cobell, and he's one of these characters that you both root for, and he's also horrible at the same time, but he does these crazy, wacky things, and you can't help but like the guy. And I really believe that so much of that is the actor here.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and this is where I was talking about like these sort of different layers of antagonists, where he's not the worst antagonist in the Severance series. Like there's the Egans and all these sort of the heads of the family and whatever else. And he's kind of working for them. So we're sort of rooting for him when he goes against them, but when he goes against our protagonists, he's the bad guy. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. I do know what you mean, that kind of layering of antagonists.
I don't know what's sort of coming up in your list there, but there's a ton of characters like that in Star Wars, for example.
Oh, yeah.
That are working for the Empire and whatever else.
Yeah.
And they find themselves in some real quandaries.
Yes.
As you might say. I love that word, quandary.
Yeah. No, it's a classic word.
Yeah. All right. What is your number 8?
My number 8 is President Snow from the Hunger Games.
Oh, yeah.
It's played by Donald Sutherland. Again, he is brilliant. Not really the guy I associate again with playing villains, No. My favourite Donald Sutherland performance would be Kelly's Heroes. Really early on in his career, and more often than not, he played these quirky characters that started with career to just steal the movie off. In that instance, Clint Eastwood.
Right.
Not easy to steal a movie off Clint Eastwood, by the way. And President Snow, there's something about him that is all too familiar to me from doing a degree in history.
Mm-hmm.
This dictator whose masks what's actually going on. And that's the brilliance of the writing behind it's kind of like a brainwashing of the people who live in the capital. And there's a little bit of Hitler in there. There's a little bit of Stalin in there. There's a little bit of every dictator in there. The way he poisons his enemies in particular, I don't know why, I find that quite more disturbing than having them shot.
Oh, yeah, I know what you mean. He's always so poised too.
Exactly.
Like,
Another one
in control.
Which it down.
It's very scary.
Yeah, it is. I think it's the first one was that the end of the first film when Seneca Crane, the games master, is led into an empty room.
Yeah.
And there's just that bowl of poisonous berries on the table.
Yeah.
It's really shocking, actually. How simple it is. There's no swearing, there's no yelling, there's no firing squad, there's no dragging him down a corridor.
Yeah.
It's just, could you go in there, sir? Lock the door. And you're expected to take your own life.
Yeah, wow.
There's something particularly creepy about that, isn't there?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah. So who's your number 7?
And this is one where there's a character that sort of represents what I would call the antagonists in this. Keys from E.T.
Okay.
Played by Peter Coyote.
Yeah.
I always like Peter Coyote. The thing about him is he comes around. And I think what I like about the handling of the character and everything, I mean, some might argue he's not the antagonist, but I guess that's what I'm proposing here today. He is kind of faceless for the first portion of the film, right? He doesn't even talk until near the end, I suppose. And so he's very mysterious, right? But he's in pursuit of this extraterrestrial, the kids, and but you come to see that he's actually a decent guy.
Yeah.
So I just think it's a fascinating character.
Yeah, he's great. I remember him talking about that, the enduring appeal of E.T. I saw him interviewed, and he talked about the fact that he felt it was because in that moment, no two humans on Earth are ever further apart than Elliot and E.T.
Yeah.
And if they can find this rapprochement,
yeah,
then anybody can. We all can,
That's right.
I just love the way he explained that. And we're living in a period where that kind of thing, we could use some more of it.
Absolutely.
Rapprochement, coming together and understanding. It's weird because when you said his name, I straight away thought, is he an antagonist? But of course he is for most of the movie.
As much as there is one.
As much as there is one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
I like
interesting,
it.
huh?
Great choice.
Okay. All right. Awesome. What is your number 7?
My number 7 is not an actor. It's a thing.
Okay. Yes.
The movie's Annihilation by Alex Garland.
Okay.
And so my number 7 antagonist is the Shimmer itself.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Have you seen Annihilation?
No, I haven't, but I'm familiar with it.
Yeah, it's a remarkable movie, really.
Okay.
It's hard to compare it to anything else, which is always a sign of great writing, great directing.
Yeah.
This Shimmer that just arrives out of nowhere, a group of scientists go into it and find that all the laws of nature have been uprooted, even though they're still on Earth within the Shimmer. And I don't want to give away too many spoilers, but there's some set pieces in that are genuinely chilling. We haven't really talked about Alex Garland. Tim mentioned him briefly when he came on because he says he thinks Sunshine's more of an Alex Garland movie than it is a Danny Boyle movie. And I understand where he's coming from with that. If you watch, he's a great sci-fi creator. People who don't know, he is also Ex Machina, which is another movie we probably should talk about on a future episode.
Yeah, really.
Annihilation didn't really get the marketing that I felt it deserved. It's Natalie Portman, as good as I've ever seen Natalie Portman. And I wanted it on the list because The Shimmer's genuinely terrifying antagonist. Plus, it's a movie that if you haven't seen it and you love sci-fi, go out and check it out. You won't be disappointed.
Okay, yeah, that's awesome. Which reminds me, you just saying Shimmer reminds me of The Happening. Have you seen that?
Yeah, The Happening, yeah.
The Wind? Running from the Wind? I won't say too much about that. But
yeah, I'll never forget. This is my quote. This is a quote from Empire Movie Magazine, I think it was. And it was a still photograph of Mark Wahlberg stood next to a pot plant, and which he's staring at. Because the whole idea is nature's sort of taking on humanity. Right. And the caption underneath the photograph was Mark Wahlberg being outacted by a picus. Which I thought was particularly cruel because Mark didn't have a lot to play with in that movie. Right. And we both love Night. We both love Night. Yeah.
Somebody suggested to me, and forgive me if it was you, that if that movie was actually meant to be like a satirical, then it's hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if it's meant to be serious, then there's a problem.
Yeah. And I think at times in that movie, they're not sure.
Yeah.
Like even the casting, is this supposed to be funny? And maybe going with a satirical view of it would have worked better.
Yeah.
The bit where the old lady shoved her head through the window, that made me jump, to be fair. That was a proper, oh my God, didn't see that coming.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for that shot alone, I'm glad I watched it. Genuinely, Night got me there. Night got me,
Yeah. Anyway, that one's not on either of our lists. Not this list.
You suggested it be on another list. That's not yet.
A different sort of list.
Yeah. The sort of list you see on social media, but we're not going to go there.
No, we're not going to go there.
No.
All right. What about number 6? My number 6 is The Prestige. Now, I've identified it as the movie title because here's another interesting scenario where you have these two characters who their actual character names really don't matter. It's Hugh Jackman and Christian Bale. That's all that matters. They're friends in the beginning, and then they become like mortal enemies by the end. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of I'm classifying them both as the antagonists because really they both poke at each other throughout this movie. And
I have more sympathy for Hugh Jackman's role. Do you? Because he lost his wife at the beginning. Did we ever find out whether he genuinely remembered which knot he tied or not? Because if he genuinely doesn't remember the knot, then he's not the antagonist. They're both.
So it all hangs on that right there.
It all hangs on that knot.
I honestly don't recall at this very moment.
I can't wait to meet Andy Serkis, because one of the first questions I'm going to ask him isn't about Andor. It isn't about Lord of the Rings or any of the amazing things he did, but he plays David Bowie's like right-hand man as Tesla.
Oh, I forgot that was Andy Serkis.
Yeah. And I'm like, you've worked with David Bowie. That's just so cool. I want to know what that was like. So that's going to be my first question when we meet Andy Serkis. We'd like to get Andy Serkis on this podcast, actually. That would be great. And that'll be my first question. What was
there you go.
He
can
Ziggy Stardust.
He can just shoot us an email and pop on the call.
Yeah. You're welcome anytime, Andy.
Yeah, anytime.
Cool movie.
Yeah, cool movie. Okay, just take us to your number 6. I got nothing more to say about that.
My number 6 is TV.
Okay.
It's one of those things where I'd love to ask if it was ever intended to be thus, or it just developed because the actor was so much better than it was assumed he would be. The actor's William B. Davis. The show is The X-Files, and the role is cigarette smoking Matt.
Yeah, okay.
And he appears in early episodes and doesn't have a line. He's just sat in the background.
Oh, yeah, he's legendary.
Yeah.
Though.
And he becomes the central antagonist through the entire run.
So you're wondering if that was planned?
I don't know that it was planned. Yeah, my guess is they've watched Bill Davis in the background and going, you know what, he's really compelling. He's got no lines.
I know.
But he's really kind of compelling as this faceless guy that maybe Skinner is being puppeteered by. But rather than making him faceless, let's have the cigarette smoking man as this antagonist. I just think that he's absolutely phenomenal through it. And yeah, again, like everybody else on this, well, most of them on this list, I don't think he raises his voice once.
Less is more.
Less is more.
Mm-hmm.
Less is more. I heard Bill Davis say once, I think I saw him speak, and they asked him about the role. It was on stage.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he was serious or joking, because he delivered it so deadpan. But he says, well, I always played him like he was the hero.
You know, in some ways, that's sort of the success of like an antagonist, when they can actually bring you over to their perspective.
Yeah.
And even if it's just to have that moment where you're like, yeah, I see the point.
Yeah. What's your number 5?
All right. My number 5 is and again, this is going to be, is it the antagonist? I'm going to call it that, but I'll explain. The heptapods from Arrival.
Okay. Ooh.
Because they are sort of this impetus, right, for this greater exploration of themes.
Yeah.
And they seem like the bad guys in the beginning. There's a lot of uncertainty about whether they're here to destroy us or whatnot. I mean, when she really does start to interpret what they're saying, you realize they're not the bad guys.
What do they do to suggest they're the bad guys?
It's the unknown. It's that fear of the unknown.
Okay, so you kind of bought into the military, we got to do something about... Because I don't feel they did anything aggressive, dude.
You didn't feel threatened in any way?
No. I just wonder how much of it is Hollywood that makes you go...
Oh, yeah,
Independence
that's probably
Day
true.
And what have you.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
They're a great character, though. I'm really glad you brought it up.
I mean, you could make an argument that like the antagonist in that movie is time or, some other sort of intangible.
Yeah, that's the amazing part of that story for me is I think all of us as humans want to know what's coming around in the future.
Yeah.
Out of fear or anxiety or whatever. We want to know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And that film shows you that the worst can happen.
Yeah.
Unimaginable stuff can happen. Bad can happen. But you still choose to go down that path.
That's right.
Because of the joy that precedes it.
Yeah.
Without trying to give anything away.
I know.
It's
the ending is interesting. Let's just say that.
The heptapods. When you said that, I had no idea I've forgotten that was their name. When you said heptapods there, I was like...
Big octopuses.
Yeah, big squids, aren't they, really?
Big squids, yeah. I guess not octopuses. Heptapuses. I don't know. Anyway, hit me with your number 5.
Number 5. I love this guy. T-1000, Robert Patrick from Terminator 2, Judgment Day.
Okay.
I'm a big Robert Patrick fan. I always have been.
Yeah,
I think it's almost the ultimate antagonist because up until this point, we're like, who's going to stop Arnie? Nobody's going to stop the T-800.
Yeah.
Well, the T-1000 does. Yeah, but he's smaller than Arnie. Yes, but he's liquid metal. I mean, I genuinely didn't see how Arnie was going to beat this dude.
Right. Totally. He's almost unbeatable. I mean,
he's almost unbeatable. Yeah. And he just keeps coming and coming and coming. It's a brilliant movie. It's a brilliant performance.
It is.
Robert Patrick was living in his car. He was that broke by the time when he was cast in this role. You know, he holds the screen with Linda Hamilton and Arnold Schwarzenegger as a terrifying presence.
Yeah.
I've also always been told I run like him. So I've always had a slight affinity for the T-1000 because it was one of my nicknames in school because I sprinted in a very similar way to Robert Patrick.
Yeah.
I can't melt through metal bars though.
Understandable.
Would be cool if I could.
Oh yeah. But he always kind of has that same face, like that.
Yeah.
A sort of expressionless face, which like gives you the willies.
Yeah, it does. And you figured that a long career of villainy in Hollywood was going to come after that. Mm-hmm. But actually, other than the odd dodgy role like Copland, or he plays a strange character in The Sopranos, he plays good guys. And he's very good at it. You know, I loved him as John Doggett in The X-Files, but sincere, good guys. Robert Patrick played a lot of those guys. Mm-hmm. I thought he was great in the Johnny Cash movie, Walk the Line. He played Johnny Cash's dad. Really tough character to have to play.
Oh, yeah, right.
He was like a recovering alcoholic, had to bury his first son. Played him brilliantly. Yeah. He's a great actor. And the T-1000 is genuinely a scary antagonist. You'd put him up against most, wouldn't you?
Oh,
as an ass kicker.
Yeah.
You put him up pretty high.
Yeah. Okay, good choice. I like it.
What's your number 4?
Okay, number 4. Here again, a bit ambiguous, I suppose. And I feel like you're going to reject this completely. But in the movie Passengers, the two main characters.
Okay, yeah.
I think I think I like this sort of ambiguous type antagonist. I mean, it's a love story.
Yeah. Set
in a sci-fi environment, really. And I feel like love stories always kind of break the conventional. You know what I mean? If ever you're reading, a how to write a screenplay book, it's always like, these are the rules, except for love stories, except for rom-coms, right?
Yeah.
They always break the rules. The conventions don't apply. So you end up with these two characters that are both protagonists and antagonists at some point in the story. Yeah. And I guess that's something I kind of like. It perhaps represents real life a little bit more than the traditional black and white. But this is a movie I really enjoy. I feel like I connected with the characters and their story. Not everyone did.
Who could you possibly be talking about?
But I personally enjoyed it. There's this part of me that would love to go and live on that spacecraft with my wife for the next 80 years.
Yeah, I know what you mean. That's lovely. No, it's you're referring to the fact that somebody read one of my scripts and compared it to Passengers.
Yeah.
And they meant it as a compliment, and I didn't take it as a compliment because I felt my script was very different to Passengers. Right. I thought Passengers was going to be very different to the film that I ended up watching.
Yeah, I get that.
But I love the choice. Mm-hmm. And I would say Chris Pratt is the antagonist.
He is the one that kind of causes the problems.
He should not wake her up. That's a very selfish thing to do. But yeah, I love that. I love the way you've come up with that. My number 4 is who beats the T-1000 because he's disgusting. And that's Baron Harkonnen from Dune, played by Stellan Skarsgård.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, he is just creepy as heck.
One of my favorite actors.
Yeah, he's great.
I love him in Andor because he's playing a good guy. And I actually prefer Stellan playing a good guy because I think he finds bad guys so easy.
Yeah.
He just sort of does it.
I see what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah. But the goo he lies in that big ball of oil. And his girth and the fact that they need balloons to hold his heft up.
Yeah.
Everything about him is just truly disgusting.
He really is.
And he's terrifying. Yeah. And he's moralless and just everything you want from a villain you want to hate is in Baron Harkonnen.
Yeah.
Not a single redeeming feature.
No, really not.
Nothing.
No. Yeah.
Who's your number 3, Jay?
My number 3 is HAL 9000 from 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Wow, yeah. I feel much better now. I really do.
He's just so creepy. Yeah, I was thinking about that ending too, where he's practically like begging to stay alive, and I can't remember exactly what he's saying, but it's like, "I'll do better. I'll work with you."
Yeah.
But yeah, you just want him to shut up.
Yeah, I do wonder if all of us who love sci-fi, who are trying to make sci-fi, who are making sci-fi, we all owe Kubrick.
Yeah, I think
because
you're right.
of that movie. I don't know that sci-fi is what sci-fi is without 2001.
I know. Yeah, I think you're right. It's a bit painful to watch because it's so long and everything is very slow.
Yeah.
Even the process of him shutting that computer down is like, I was revisiting that before today, and it was like 4 minutes of him turning things and switching things. It's like, oh my gosh.
Does it raise the tension for you?
There's no music or anything. Yeah, no, it's slow, and it's just painful. You're like pulling your hair out.
Yeah,
right.
It makes you uncomfortable.
It's all intentional, I think. Yeah, like as painful as it is, that is the experience Kubrick wanted us to have.
It feels art house, doesn't it? It feels like French New Cinema or something like that. It doesn't feel like Hollywood mainstream.
The first time I saw that movie was I had a friend who was like in drama at university, and like not where I went, and I went, and he was part of a film club, and somehow they got their hands on like a 16 millimeter print of that film.
Wow!
And they showed it like in some basement room on a white brick wall, and the film, as to the best of my knowledge, is like shot anamorphic, right? So you have this like squeezing of the image when it comes in through the lenses, and then it usually gets de-squeezed on the way out. But because it was a 16 mil print, you had the square frame, but there was no de-squeeze lens on the projector. So I watched the whole movie like very narrow. Everybody was, millimeters wide in this, like on a mono speaker in this creepy basement. So it was quite an experience.
Whilst doing mushrooms. It's just
That might have helped. That might have helped.
That might have helped, yeah.
Yeah. All right, what's your number 3?
My number 3, I'm going to give an honourable mention first, because I couldn't have him because we've only allowed one per franchise.
All right.
So the honourable mention is Ian Holm as Ash in Alien.
Okay, awesome.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
And the creepiest death I've ever seen on screen.
Right.
When he goes crazy. And coming from the guy who played Bilbo Baggins, and he was in The Borrowers, and he was a great Shakespearean actor.
Was he? Okay.
Yeah, he really was. He was fantastic.
Yeah.
And again, very quiet.
Yeah.
It's a very pared down performance.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the honourable mention. The actual antagonist
I see.
from Alien, the Xenomorph, is my number 3.
All right. That's my number 2. So
that's your number,
we're
were so
pretty much
close.
on the same page there. Yeah.
We were so close because I was thinking we've nearly got through this with no doubles.
Yeah.
But there's nothing I'd less like to come across.
I know.
In movie history than the Xenomorph.
Yes.
Even the acid blood, you can't even shoot it.
Gosh.
The acid blood is a genius idea.
Yeah.
The fact it has 2 forms, this spidery crab-like thing that face
exactly. I was just going to say that.
And then I guess what comes out of you is the via your chest. It's just, honestly, it's horrific. And how big it really grows, is. That queen thing was just huge.
Oh my gosh. And so slimy and...
Yeah.
And you get those close-ups too. They do not shy away from the close-ups.
They don't, no. And when the second jaw comes out.
Yep.
And the mouth opens, that second jaw comes out.
Yeah.
I think that's from nature. I think there was an eel that does that.
Is there?
And it came from nature, that it will sit with its mouth open and a second set comes out. It's just horrifying.
It is horrifying.
It's a parasite that's looking for a host.
Yeah.
While simultaneously then producing something that isn't a parasite, is a killing machine.
Yeah.
It's just a fearless killing machine.
Yeah.
So that was your number 2.
That was my number 2. So what's
I even made you go first, so this
That's okay. It's all right. So what is your number 2?
My number 2 is Star Wars.
Okay.
Which might surprise you. That surprise you a little bit. Everybody assumes it's number 1.
Shocked.
Yeah. And it's not who you think.
Okay.
Everybody talks about Vader, and I understand why. Mm-hmm. But the true evil in Star Wars is Darth Sidious / Emperor Palpatine, whichever you want to call him.
Yeah.
And I've never really known how to pronounce the actor's surname. It's Ian McDiarmid, I think.
Oh, right.
Apologies if I got that wrong. But he is phenomenal.
He is.
And when you see him in the prequels, you realize how good an actor he is. When he's Senator Palpatine. Perfectly reasonable. Okay. And you know he's going to turn into Darth Sidious and into the Emperor.
Yep.
And yet he seems a perfectly reasonable, cordial politician wandering around the Capitol. And that is the more interesting transformation in the prequels for me than the transformation of Anakin into Vader. He's great in that transformation. The point when he then finally gets the bucket helmet on his head and tells him to rise. An absolutely brilliant moment in Star Wars. Yeah. And I think he's just pure evil. He's evil incarnate.
Yeah.
Palpatine. So that's my number 2. Who's your number 1?
Good choice. All right. So my number 1 is from the movie Jurassic Park.
Cool.
Do you know it?
I do.
Yeah. So I feel like there's 2 antagonists, or I'm just going to put it this way. I love all the antagonists in this movie. So you got the dinosaurs, right?
Yeah.
That are chasing people. That's fun. But then you have Dennis Nedry, who is a delightful character, right? A bumbling buffoon. He's the one who kind of creates all these problems. And I suppose, there's layers above him that are probably less interesting.
And he's in Seinfeld.
And he's in Seinfeld, exactly. I mean, at the time, it was like, how could life get any better? Anyway, yeah. So Dennis Nedry is a lot of fun, but he's probably less an antagonist and more like, what is the word? He's like the impetus of all this trouble. He's not the one out to kill people.
He's just greedy.
You're right.
So what's the bigger antagonist to you? What scares you more? Velociraptors hunting the kids or the big T-Rex?
The raptors.
The raptors. Yeah. They're the number 1.
Do you think? What would you say?
Oh, I wouldn't want to bump into either. I'll be honest with you.
No, I wouldn't either. But when you think about like that kitchen scene, for example, where it feels like there's no escape. Like they're just, you just have this feeling like they're like walking razor blades.
Yeah. Because that's the first kill, isn't it? Even at the start, you see that as they're moving velociraptors, that guy gets dragged into the cave. You can't see them, but he gets dragged in.
Right. Yes. Yeah, you're right.
So I think they do set it up that's the...
Plus, there's that whole scenario where it's like if you're looking at this one, there's one over there looking at you.
Yeah.
Right? Clever girl.
Yeah.
A
bit like wolves, I think. That's where they got it.
Bit like from. Wolves. Yeah, totally. All right. What's your number 1?
My number 1 antagonist in the history of sci-fi is played by the inimitable Rutger Hauer. That's Roy Batty in Blade Runner.
Yeah. Awesome.
Rutger Hauer is just, I think, the daddy of villains. If you ever
watch The Hitcher,
if you watch The Hitcher, he is scary in that. And in Blade Runner, Roy Batty is a brilliantly written character, but I honestly, this is the one thing I'm going to go away from the greatness of Philip K. Dick. I'm going to go away from the greatness of Ridley Scott. And I'm going to say he elevated that role. I don't care how well written it was. He completely elevates that. For me, that should have won an Oscar, that performance, Best Supporting Actor. The fact he doesn't kill him in the end when he can sort of makes you less frightened of him than you would be the xenomorph or a velociraptor or a predator. But that performance and the fact that he effectively ad-libbed that speech as he's dying blows my mind as a writer and an actor.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever told you this, but an early draft of one of my scripts, The Elpis, was originally called Salvage Orion. And it was entirely inspired by that monologue that he improvised.
Oh,
he's
I didn't know that.
About, you haven't seen what I've seen, sea beams burning off the shoulder of Orion. And believe it or not, that's where the Elpis came from.
Is that right?
And I don't know that anybody's ever said a line in a film that inspired me to write a 115-page script.
Wow.
I was going to meet him, and he sadly passed away just a few months before he was going to be over in the UK. And I was devastated because I wanted to tell him that. I just thought, that's got to be a pretty cool compliment. I wrote an entire film because of one line that you came up with on screen.
Yeah, really.
And so, he's gone too soon. I miss him dearly. And if this is anecdotal, if I ever get to speak to anybody who worked on Blade Runner, I'll have it confirmed. But the anecdotal truth is that when he dies and his arms open and those two doves fly up.
Right.
Even Ridley Scott went, where'd the doves come from? Is that Rutger he had them under his arms and he just did it. And they're like, what the, which is a bit like the story about Brando in The Godfather. Coppola walks on and goes, where'd the cat come from? He says, well, he just found a cat. Brando, the cat he's stroking.
Yes.
Like, all you could hear on the mic was purring. Like, oh my gosh. The trouble is it's them now to boom him rather than because Marlon wanted the cat. I love stories like that about real kind of genius out there personalities bringing it with incredible intensity.
And, as a filmmaker, that's what you want. You want the actor to bring something to it you hadn't thought of, some new dimension that elevates it. It's also the most scared I've ever been for Harrison, my hero, in that big apartment building when Rutger's running through the house topless, howling like a wolf, smashing his head through the wall. In all of the Harrison's heroes that I've watched, Indiana Jones, Han Solo, Richard Kimball, Jack Ryan, that's the one where even on reviewings, I'm like, oh no, Harrison's in trouble. This guy's scary. This guy can kill him, Yeah. So he has everything that you need in an antagonist, I guess. So who would win with your antagonist, your number one against mine, Dennis Nedry? I thought you were going to slam dunk me with a pair of velociraptors, because to be fair, you think even a Nexus 6 is going to have a trouble with a couple of velociraptors. Yeah, if it was the Raptors, you'd have a match on your hands. The interesting thing about the Raptors for me is they're a bit like the shark in Jaws. Right. They're just doing what they're supposed to do. That's what their instinct is. And I guess that's the same for the xenomorph. Probably, for any of the sort of... the creature types. Creature. Yeah. Well, we've reached the end, I believe. Those are our top 10 antagonists. We'd love to hear what yours are. Swing by popcorninorbit.com and let us know. And thank you for listening. You're absolutely right. We really are thrilled with how big our audience has gotten. Yeah. We genuinely thought there might be 2 or 3 listeners at this point. You and me. Yeah, and my mom. But it turns out, looking at the analytics, we've got at least double that. So thank you so much. No, it's true. Yeah, we do appreciate you listening. And as always, Ian, it's been a pleasure. It has been, Jay. Thank you so much. Should probably mention to the listeners that if the podcasts become a little more sporadic in the coming weeks, don't worry, we're not going anywhere, but we are actually trying to shoot a sci-fi movie, aren't we? Yeah, we are working on some things. Yeah, we're working on some stuff, which is all very exciting. Looking forward to talking to you about it. Yeah, stay tuned. Yeah, stick with us. Popcorn in Orbit is produced by the Shooting Eye and Ice River Pictures